the machine, chisel me down until I am clean. I buy books, I never read, and then I tell you some more about me.
Carrie K back with more Dirty Laundry. Today we have Paul from Maximo Park. Welcome to LA, Paul.
It's sunny, isn't it?
My words are just hunches, I'm not sure what they mean.
How did the band come about? Were they formed and then they found you?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
It was unusual because I'd never sung before, and that's
Really?
yeah. And now that's all what I do every day.
Yeah.
And, it's again to think that we were just sort of university friends, me and Tom, the drummer.
Okay.
And he'd seen me in an instrumental band jumping up and down with a guitar, again doing sort of film soundtracks and things like that. And he knew that I liked to perform, but he didn't know if I could sing or not. And Duncan and Archers were sort of playing bass and guitar and singing songs that they'd written, but neither of them were particularly comfortable being a frontman, so they were on the lookout for somebody who jumped around and kind of, was a bit more extroverted, which I'm not really, but when I'm on a stage, I kind of get into the whole thing.
Yeah, you go crazy.
I try my best to...
Do you have to do like physical warm-ups? Do you have to like stretch and do yoga before you go on stage?
Do a little bit. I'm a big football, aka soccer, for the USA viewers. I'm a big football fan and I play a lot of football, so what I do is I do my football stretches, which have always kept me right since I was a kid, and nothing's gone severely wrong on stage yet. I'm tempting fate now, but yeah, I like to stay limber.
You guys recently took about a 3-year hiatus, is that correct?
Just about, yeah.
Yeah, what was going on in the meantime?
Well, it's kind of an extended period where the first year of it was us touring the last album, Quick in the Heart, so we were pretty busy with that. And then I decided to do a solo record, and that took up a bit of time, even though it was kind of recorded at home and it was all kind of done. It just to get the artwork right and go on tour and rehearse with a new band to kind of play the songs. It took up kind of 6 months, and we were doing festivals, and we did a soundtrack to a silent film as well in Newcastle. Because in Newcastle we kind of we're not official patrons because it's not that kind of organisation, but there's a volunteer-run cinema called the Star and Shadow, and nobody gets paid or anything, and we're kind of linked with it because we go there, and it's a really great place where they show avant-garde cinema, old sort of 20s silent films, whatever. And yeah, we did a soundtrack which took up another few months, and then we performed it in there for 2 nights, and then we finally got around to recording the next record and writing it. And the writing took a little bit longer just because we'd done other things, and it takes a while to get back in the groove. And we were sometimes we would be going like a week without doing anything productive, and you would get really annoyed. But yeah, it all worked out in the end. We'd kind of finished our record contract as well, which is another small factor in it. I mean, it didn't really play too much on our minds, but we didn't have anything to do. We didn't need to deliver a record, and so we did it ourselves, paid for it ourselves, and then licensed it. So it was kind of back to the old days, really, DIY, but with a bit more money involved. We sort of gave all of our savings to Gil Norton, and we recorded it with him, who's done like the Pixies and Foo Fighters, legendary producer. And so yeah, we saved up to work with him again because we'd worked with him on our second album, and it was really cool because we already knew how he worked. We'd done 3 records with 3 different producers, and tried to find a way through each of those records that was quite different to the last time that we'd done it. Whereas this time, because we'd been away, we had time to kind of consider what we were doing and thought, right, let's kind of cherry pick the best things from all 3 of the records and add new things in, and hopefully we'll come up with a really good 4th album. So he was a kind of a safe pair of hands that worked out.
Tell us about stalking Bonnie Prince Billy.
Well, I was at all Tomorrow's Parties festivals, and Bonnie Prince Billy was playing, and he was hanging around in the disco, and a friend of mine had painted his eyelids with some profanities, which he had asked her to do, and we were sort of hanging around, and I'd had a few drinks, and I was probably at the peak of my Bonnie Prince Billy love, and I just went into a big long kind of sort of monologue about how much I loved his music, and I was like, don't ever stop making your music, don't, please, you know, it really touches people or whatever. I was being earnest and drunken, and he was just like, yeah, whatever, you know. He was kind of bored, and I was going on for far too long, and I was saying the same thing, like when you're drunk, you say the same thing over and over again for no reason.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he eventually walked off, rightly so. But later on, I was dancing on the dance floor, and he was on the dance floor, and I think Talking Heads Once in a Lifetime came on, and he was sort of dancing, grooving away.
Yeah.
You know.
What kind of dance was he doing?
He was doing the let him away.
One of these.
You know, he was doing a bit of that.
Okay.
And then he saw me, and he was just like, and then just ran off.
No.
Yeah.
Pitchfork. Pitchfork.com. Is it the hand of God or a bunch of indie elitist motherfuckers?
Well, that's an interesting question.
Or someplace in between.
I think, as with many truths, it's somewhere in between. I think, you know, when something becomes powerful as well and kind of has an influence, it becomes a kind of cloudy issue. You know, people are aware, you know, who write for something that's successful, that they have a kind of taste-making kind of role, if you like, and perhaps that's, you know, that can distort your opinion of a record. You know, you start to think about the context more than the actual music. You know, just I would say when you're reviewing something, just listen to the music and try not to think too much about those contextualizing things. It's all, you know, and it's great to kind of pay attention to what's going on and put it into a context at the end. But when you listen to music, it should be your gut. What do you like about it? Do you like it or not? You know, is that melody great? Is that lyric great? Is that sound great?
Yeah.
You know, don't think, oh well, you know, what is the socio-cultural kind of impact of this record? You know,
yeah.
Is it breaking new ground? I don't know. Is it a good record? Is what I would ask first of all. There's some like bands that I really like the Go-Betweens or Mark Kozelek. You know, nothing changes much between each record. The changes are quite subtle, and they're doing their own thing. But that doesn't mean that they're not breaking new ground within what they do. But then they're not doing like a sort of drum and bass kind of mashup or anything, or a kind of dubstep influence thing, because that's not what they feel like doing. And for me, music is about doing what you feel. And again, if you're a critic, you've got to respond to it with how you feel. But I think that Pitchfork generally does that. You know, I think I enjoy reading stuff on their website, but I don't read our reviews because just in case they're not very nice. So I avoid all reviews of our stuff. Whenever our music comes out, I don't read any of the newspapers that I usually read or any of the music websites. And
that can't be easy.
It's not easy because I like reading about music, but
Yeah.
I also work so hard on the music, and I want it and believe in it so much that I'm a very sensitive man. I would crumble at criticism.
You would get your feelings hurt with it.
Yeah, of course. You know, I mean, I'm not. Some people are more robust in that department, whereas I get annoyed and start thinking, "What are you on about?"
Well, I understand that you ask for ties as part of your writers.
Yes.
In LA, it's really pretty hot for ties.
Yeah.
So I want to give you this scarf as a token of our appreciation for being on the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a man's scarf.
Good. It's nice to know. There we go.
It actually goes.
There you go. I'm bohemian now.
Right on.
Thanks very much.
Thanks for being on the show.
My pleasure.
I pitched MCs.